So in today's video, I wanted to talk about triads, and in particular how a simple understanding of triads can completely change the way that you play chords on the guitar. One of my students, this lesson is actually inspired by one of my students, who recently went to see Dead & Company at the Sphere. And he was talking to me about like, yeah, I thought I had kind of my chords figured out, you know, these guys. And some, you know, bar chords, you know, maybe some fancy jazzy seventh chords. But what he noticed was a lot of these players were using just simple triads and moving them around the neck to get different colors and different sounds out of the instrument and to complement and explore the music in a better way. So in today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some different ways that you can take even just simple chord progressions with a simple understanding of some simple chords and just unlock kind of worlds of possibilities and worlds of creativity within them. So let's look at just a basic 1-4-5 chord progression. So let's say we're in the key of G. So our chords would be G, which here, let's say I only know this triad shape. So this is 5-4-3 on the D, G, B, and B strings. And this would look like this if I played G, C, and then D. We would get something like this. Nothing wrong with that, but if that's the only thing that I can play on this chord progression, you know, and say the song hangs out a lot on those three chords, it's gonna get pretty boring pretty quickly, because if this is all you have to say, you know, by the second or third time around, you're gonna go, okay, I know what this song is, I know what it's all about. This is all I got in the tank. So what if I just learned some different chords, some different inversions? Sorry, I went one fret too high there, oh my goodness. Still, I'm a professional guitarist, but I'm still working on my talking and playing abilities, evidently. So, let's say we decided we were going to use some chord inversions so that we have some flexibility with these. If you aren't familiar with the idea of a chord inversion, it's taking these simple 3-note chords and just arranging the notes in a different order. So for example, I have 3 different ways I could play this G over B chord, or sorry, this G chord. I could play it here, which is what we would call root position because the lowest note in the chord is my root. I could play it here, which is a third and bass chord. That goes G, B, D, so it's the same notes as the G chord, but they're just in a different order. And then lastly, I have this one on this set of strings, which is where my 5th is in the bass. So any of these chords I can play when the chord symbol or the chord chart says G, because these are all the same chord. They're all gonna work, especially if I have a bassist playing. Let me just... That sounds like a G chord. That sounds like a G chord. And that also sounds like a G chord. So they're all interchangeable. Now, here's where the fun stuff comes in and where messing with inversions can be such a powerful tool to have in your arsenal, is I can start creating melodies or thinking about how I want these chords to move. So for example, I could take this G, C, D chord progression, and if I play this C over G and this D over F sharp, I get this really smooth sound where I get... Now what about a different option? If I came up here and I wanted to start on this G over B, I might do something like this. So I might play G with the 3rd in the bass, C in root position, there. I'll do that one more time. So G with 3rd in the bass, C in root position, D in 5th in bass. Now, what if I got a little bit more adventurous with this? Let's say I want to have all of the chords fall. So what if I start on this same G over B? But then I go to C over G, then I go to D. I could resolve it here. And then what if I wanted to climb back up to that? Then I would get... So it gives me all all of these options, and again, you can create these kind of storytelling things. So here, I don't have necessarily a fixed progression that I'm gonna, or I'll play the progression, but I'm just gonna use different variations of those and see what I can come up with. So let's say I start down here. I want it to climb. I want it to keep climbing. I want it to keep climbing. Now what if I call this a sandwich. So what if I went, there's high, lower, middle, lower. Then, let's say I fall. So there I threw in two different inversions of a G major chord to kind of keep flowing around and seeing what happened. So there's some options. I have one more kind of written out with diagrams, and then we'll freewheel even harder. But so let's start out on this G over D up here. And now here, this would be way up the neck. We might get something that sounds like this. So what if I went G with fifth in the bass to C with the third in the bass, D in root position to G. I'm going to do that one more time. So just with a simple understanding of these chords, you can get into some really interesting sounds. Now, what if I played two different inversions for each chord? So what I'm going to do is there's going to be now two changes every time that I play one of those chords. So rather than just going G, 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 what if I went... So there I go to C, then I might go to a different one, then I might go to D, then I might go down, then I might go to G. Yeah, so let's see what that sounds like. So now that I have some of these basic shapes down, I'm going to play around with adding more kind of shifting in this. So, and again, the best way that I could describe what I'm thinking of here is I'm just thinking about where I want the chords to move. Do I want it to go to a higher sound, or do I want it to go to a lower sound? And I'm just using these simple little 3-note voicings that are super mobile and super easy to move around and kind of shift, and just seeing, you know, what I end up with. So let's try. And so just by working on some of these simple little chord inversions, you can unlock all kinds of color that'll help you out in other aspects of your guitar playing, so that you can have this kind of weaving, kind of narrative-like kind of tale to your chords, rather than just being, these are the only chords I know, so these are what I'm playing. So anyways, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It truly helps me out more than you could know. If you are looking to take a guitar lesson with me, there's a link to get in touch with me down in the description. I'd love to work with you on whatever's troubling you on the guitar. If you are looking for a different way to support me and what I'm up to here on the channel, you can subscribe to my Patreon. All of my patrons get early access to videos, as well as cool behind-the-scenes sneak peeks at stuff that I'm working on. And it's just a wonderful little community of guitar lovers. They also get PDFs of all of the diagrams that show up in my videos to aid them in their practice, and it's a wonderful little community of guitar lovers, so I'd love to see you over there. Another great way to support me and what I'm up to is to check out either my ebooks or my video courses, also linked down in the description. It's a great way to get some more in-depth educational content from me than I can go into in, a 10 to 15 minute YouTube video. And last but not least, I have new videos coming out every single week, so I hope I'll see you in the next one, and until I do, I'll wish you a wonderful day, and I hope you have some fun playing the guitar. Thank you so much.